We have risen from the ashes to school the masses. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Scholars of Wrestling Show. I am your man behind the microphone, Scholar Jeff. Joining us today is the undisputed scholar himself. Elsewhere on the screen, he is Scholar Tarek. Scholar Tarek, how are you doing this evening, sir?
I am doing perfectly fine this evening. We have felt the backlash of WrestleMania's backlash. And, brains.
Yes, brains indeed. And speaking of brains, doing his best Weekend at Bernie's impression, the one and only, the always effervescent Scholar Brian. Scholar Brian, how are you doing this evening, sir?
I'm annoyed
Annoyed? Annoyed how?
because I had a perfect prediction card
Well, you're
for
not the only one.
WrestleMania Backlash,
You're not the only one.
but for whatever reason, okay, Scholar Charlie has the download codes to my brain.
So you're saying he tied you, and you do not like that.
He
He
is the
and
constant
it's not the
troll.
first time. It's not the first time this year. How many
your-
times is that, Torek? Like 3 or 4?
Yeah. I actually do think it's over. I think it's 4 times. He's chosen to do the exact same predictions as you.
The man either has the download codes to my brain or he's doing the shit on purpose. And it's annoying, and I
Most
should
likely
be
the latter.
champion right now, but instead, still vacant, baby.
Goldie is still without someone protecting her.
But I've got a feeling it won't be that way for long.
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah,
Making sure of that.
Yes. Scholar Tark, I believe you've got an idea but about that. But before we get to all that, we got to kick this show off the right way with a little something we like to call backstage news.
Indeed, we shall go ahead, peek behind that curtain once again, and dodge the whipping of Bianca Belair's hair, because, that is a very terrifying weapon, and check in with a little
Backstage news.
News.
Firings about time, man.
Hey, man, Bianca Belair's hair. She could dress up as Catwoman, and it makes perfect sense.
Okay, I'm not quite.
Am I wrong?
All I need to remember is the sound it made when she hit Sasha Banks at WrestleMania.
Exactly.
My hair is still standing up on end.
Yeah, that's all you need to know about the weapon that her hair is. The sound that made.
Well, I'll tell you what.
You can't fake that.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. Whose hair we will not be hearing from again lately. We will not be seeing the Velveteen Dream very much anymore because he got released.
Good.
Some people are saying finally good. Other people are saying what a waste. What are the scholars saying?
I'm saying both. It's a waste of talent because
He is very talented.
if you watched, okay, like very good wrestling. Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Most of his matches were good, and you can't just say that the other guys in the matches were great. He had a massive part in making those matches great. But with all the backstage shit, just like it's coming out now that the child, that the underage soliciting was not the only issues that he was having backstage. And people were, and his coworkers were scared of coming out because of going to management because of Velveteen Dream's ties to management. And you know what? It's just sometimes you have to say enough's enough. And it's not worth it to keep talent around when the issues are steeped that high. Okay, that's it.
Another accusation I've been hearing about Velveteen Dream is that to some people, it seemed like his stock was already falling even when he was still an active member of the NXT roster, such as the last big match he had with uh, Adam Cole, the street fight, or the what you call it, the backlot brawl, whatever you called that thing.
Well, that was pretty much that was at the time the accusations first started coming out. Okay, like it wasn't multiple at that point. I think it was only the one. Okay, and so they kept him on TV. They kept him doing his thing. He had the street fight with Adam Cole, and that's when everything else that's when everything else started coming in. So, and that's when they took him off of TV to get the heat, to try to get the heat off of WWE. And
Yeah,
and it's as I said, it's there's only so much you can do, and there's only so much heat that WWE management is going to be willing to take to keep a guy like that hired. And
right.
as talented as he is, okay, at some point you have to cut your losses.
Yeah, and I think that's another big criticism I've been hearing is that even before all of these accusations started piling up and the finger pointing, a lot of people I've heard have already said that, you know what, maybe his overall quality of matches and just the momentum he had was already on a downturn before these even really start, before the accusations really started picking up steam. uh what really at this point, it hindsight being what it is, was it the accusations that ultimately did it in, or was it or was Velveteen Dreams in-ring career slowly sort of going stagnant anyway?
I don't think it has anything to do with the stagnancy of his career, because the stagnancy of his career is based off of those is based off of all of his backstage drama, because but because before the backstage drama hit, he was still hot. They still had major plans for this guy. He he was he was in a feud with Adam Cole. Like, that was the last major thing he did. And if a feud with Adam Cole doesn't help you, okay, I I don't think that his career was stagnant and going down at that point. It was it was first the accusations. Okay, they took him off of TV, and then when he was in training or whatever, there were attitude problems and all that. All this stuff is just coming out now. All the attitude issues, and WWE can try to keep this guy around through the accusations and all that, but there comes a point in time when your backstage behavior your backstage behavior, you need to cut the losses. It had nothing to do with his career being stagnant. He was putting on great matches when all this stuff was going down and he got taken off of TV.
That being said, let's just close this portion out with a little Scholar's Quick Talk question. The final question I've only been hearing is what the future holds for Velveteen Dream. Is he going to find employment elsewhere? If so, where? Or does the way everything went down ultimately mean this is the end of his career? Which way will he go? What do you think?
I only see him going to Impact. That's the only place I can actually see where they can accept him.
I honestly, okay, I think he's done. With everything that's coming out now and all the legal stuff that he's got to be that he's going to be taken care of soon enough. Now the WWE is not going to be protecting him anymore. Okay, now the WWE is not protecting him anymore. That all that stuff is going to go to court, and he's going to have to deal with that. And WWE lawyers are not going to protect him anymore. So I honestly don't think that any major wrestling promotion is even going to take a chance on this guy. And yes, I'm including Impact as a major wrestling promotion. But I think he's got to look elsewhere. I think he's done.
Can you really? And the question I have is, can you actually, or not actually, can you say the same for? Because Velveteen Dream was one of the other people who have been released on the NXT side. Because I just spent basically this entire conversation trying to look up the list of all the NXT superstars that were released this week. Pretty much NXT had their own WWE list of releases, and I think the only one that actually can be in the same spot as you're saying it, Brian, with Velveteen Dream is referee Drake Wirtz.
Oh, he's never working again. Are you?
Yeah.
No.
He's another one that's in those spots. I mean, all the other people, Jake Clemens, Alexander Wolf, Skylar Story, Ezra Judge, Jasmine Duke, Vanessa Bourne, and Kavita Devi, they could probably find places somewhere else. They just
if they want it, they could be hired within the month.
Yeah.
Okay.
Truth be told, I didn't even know they released Kavita Devi.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. She was one of the 9 superstars that they released this week.
I mean,
NXT side.
the first name that came out was Drake Wirtz, and I'm like,
that's not surprising at all.
You have to. Okay, when your talent refuses to have him be the referee for their match, okay, he's never going to work again, and it's because he's been so stupid in public.
Between those two, because those two are basically the big names that got released, Velveteen Dream and Drake Wirtz. I actually see Velveteen Dream actually finding work, because they have the allegations that were during the time, and the text, the pictures of the messages that he sent, which apparently haven't been 100% proven as real, but it's still the fact that they have to deal with that. But between the two of them, I actually see Velveteen Dream actually trying his best to stay in the business, if anything, and just the low independent stuff.
It's like I can see him trying. I don't see him succeeding. That's because,
like I said, maybe the independents.
AEW is not going to do it.
Oh,
no. And Impact fired Tessa Blanchard. If they fired her, then they're not going to.
That's true.
They're not going to deal. They're not going to deal with shit. So.
But yeah, if of the two, I see Velveteen Dream at least trying to stay in the business, and if anything, just go into independence and make appearances. All right. Drake Wirtz is done.
Yeah, we'll see when time how everyone else lands.
And Skylar Story will do GCW and AEW because she's the girlfriend of Joey Janela. So she's already set.
Well, meanwhile, as for the rest of us, we also just got notification officially today that WWE is going back on the road with live events once again. starting in the month of July with a series of live shows in Texas, including Money in the Bank.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Good.
which is what the rumor mill has been predicting, and apparently what the rumor mill has also been predicting along with it is eventually a rumored location for SummerSlam
In
at
Nevada.
in the new stadium that was just built in Las Vegas, Nevada. So I
And
know
and you made that perfectly clear on your social media. It's like, it better be there. It better be there.
it's the place. It's this big new shiny stadium across the street from Mandalay Bay, one of my favorite casinos on the Las Vegas Strip. If the timing works out, I know I'm going to be there.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
the question I've got for you guys is, I've heard a lot of conflicting reports like, okay, is it the right time? Is about time? Is it too soon? I know we talked about this before, but for you guys personally, is the timing right? Would you go to a live event now, or does more time need to pass before you're feeling okay with doing that?
For me, I actually do think now that not even just like WWE or trying their best to beat AEW with the live crowd returns, but like other sports, the NHL has people back during for the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Baseball, 50,000
Baseball,
people were.
and they're bringing they're reopening Broadway shows. They're
Yeah.
doing concerts. So it is the time, and they're obviously not going to do full capacity yet. They're gonna have like a good number of crowds, but of course they gotta still wear their masks and they'll keep a distance. And the whole, if you're fully vaccinated, you're more likely to get in than others who are not vaccinated. So would I go to a live show now? I think so. I think now it's reaching that point where I think it's okay to attend events. I mean, I'm still gonna wear my mask, just better safe than sorry until everything's in the clear. But when you asked this question months ago, absolutely not. It was no question. But now it's getting better, and it's reaching that point where, yeah, I would be okay with it if they stick to the guidelines and all that, and making sure everyone stays safe and healthy. Unlike
Yeah.
the idiot that went to WrestleMania positive and posted about it while he was there.
All it
Yeah,
takes is
that
one.
fucking guy. Jesus Christ.
That being said, what
but-
about you, Brian? Is
Uh,
the time right, or is it a little too early for you?
for me personally, I I I believe it's okay to I personally would not go, mostly because I am not fully vaccinated yet.
Mhm.
So I I'm not comfortable being in large crowds yet because of that.
That's
But
that makes perfect sense.
but it's also like it's been a year. By the time that it starts, by the time the shows start coming back again, it would have been about a year and a half. So, and the vaccines are rolling out, and it's time for a slow return to normal to begin.
But that's not going to
And
stop me from trying to actually go to the Thunderdome once, at least once. Just be in just watching it through the Thunderdome before it's gone forever.
Fair
yeah,
enough. Absolutely.
but basically the moral of the story is, yeah, I think a slow return to normal, start slow, and and by the end of the year have full crowds back. I'm just not comfortable myself yet.
And that's perfectly fair. Uh, but elsewhere, we still do need to deal with the backlash of, well, Backlash from this past weekend.
WrestleMania Backlash.
Who's counting? Whatever.
Hey,
Yes.
man. It's more WrestleMania Backlash is more searched on the internet than regular Backlash, and that's saying something. Especially for us old school fans.
Yeah, and what do we get for all the hype? We get a bunch of zombies.
Okay, I just want to make things perfectly clear about this show. It was a good show. The wrestling was very good. The only thing that I could say was really bad was the zombies. Take that show out. This was a near perfect show. I actually enjoyed this show a lot.
I actually agree. I agree. Everything except that one match was pretty much awesome, and I could have rolled with the zombies. Okay, I could have rolled with the zombies if on Monday. Okay, if on Monday Night Raw, John Morrison was
there.
an actual had the makeup and was an actual zombie.
They should have just had him run away. And
if you're gonna have him be eaten, okay, if you're gonna show him be eaten, okay, and you show up and he shows up on Raw the next day, basically fine. It's like, dude, if you're gonna bring in stupidity, go in with it. Go all the way in.
Like Miz kind of has an advantage for being actually injured, being that it kind of works for him that he technically was being written off. It was just such a shame because this is the Miz's first legit injury that actually wrote him off. Which good congratulations for having it be this long. I mean, how long has he been in the WWE? Like almost 15 years.
2006, I think. 2005, 2006.
And this is the first time he actually legit got injured. So good for him for staying healthy that long. But the injury kind of works because now he's officially written off TV. But how can you come back from being eaten by zombies?
If he comes back as a zombie himself.
He comes back as Johnny Cage after showing up in the new Mortal Kombat movie.
But here's
that's gonna be a while off though.
And here's the problem, and this is why I couldn't be down with the zombies. Okay, because the Miz isn't going to come back as a zombie because Morrison got eaten too, and he was back fine the next night. So
I get what they were doing. I get why they did it. I get why they did it. It's basically the equivalent of when Dolph Ziggler and a Miz and another tie promotion with something. When Dolph Ziggler was dressed up as Colonel Sanders and he faced the Miz dressed up as a chicken for a KFC commercial.
Yeah, but it's also like
me of that.
It's also like you do a bunch of stupid shit on Raw. Okay, leave the zombie lumberjack match for Raw.
Don't have it as an actual match. Do a video package like you did with Dolph Ziggler and the Miz. Don't have it be for an actual match this didn't do anything for Damian Priest.
It did nothing.
It did jack. And now he has another match with John Morrison and another lumberjack match, which when you actually look at the lumberjacks, it's really sad, especially when Nikki Cross was one of them. And the story is for her, she basically begged to be out there because she was tired of being in catering. And she's just like, I don't care where you put me. Just put me out there. I want to be out there. I'm tired of being backstage and doing nothing. And that's sad.
And that lumberjack match was better than the pay-per-view lumberjack match.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, to be fair, John Morrison is more wrestler than Miz ever is. Miz is sports entertainer. John Morrison is wrestler.
Yeah, maybe with the Miz's injuries, they'll actually do something
Like you don't see Miz,
entertaining with Morrison.
you don't
but-
see Miz showing up in back. Like if Miz left WWE, you don't see him showing up on independent shows and all that. He's going like to Hollywood or continuing his reality show. He's sports entertainer over the wrestler, which
Yeah.
it works for him.
But if you take that away, if you take the zombie lumberjack match away, okay, there's no weakness here.
Oh no, all the matches were great.
That was the one weakness. Like this was a very surprising show with one very what the fuck
with two match of the year candidates for me. Between the triple threat match with Bobby Lashley, Braun Strowman, and Drew McIntyre, which that match was just nonstop awesome. I had fun with that match.
It made me think highly of Braun again.
Yeah, exactly. And Roman Reigns versus Cesaro, which again, I've said it before. I've said it in the past few weeks. This match was not about Cesaro. He was basically the Asuka in this storyline where he's just there. So he put on an awesome match. The fact that he actually got his arm bruised in real life actually worked to the story of Roman focusing on the arm to what's the word? Neutralize. No pun intended. The uppercut. I really hope this leads to something like an eventual rematch. This another way to just keep Cesaro away from the title picture right now, so the focus will be on Roman Reigns versus Jimmy Uso now, with Jay being the conflicted one.
Honestly, I think that given the way everything ended, I'm actually kind of convinced that this is the way it's going to go.
Oh, it's definitely going to go. And now
yeah,
Cesaro's back with Seth Rollins, unfortunately. I'm only saying unfortunately because their feud ended already. I mean, Cesaro won. They've had multiple matches, I think 2 at least, where 2 matches and Cesaro beat Rollins more. So it's kind of those, once again, rematch that WWE likes to do recently, especially like if you look at Damian Priest versus Miz / Morrison, that's been going on since before WrestleMania. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler versus Tamina and Natalya, which has been happening for a while now. It's just back to the rematches, and it's just it's reached that point where it's like, okay, come on, we know Seth Rollins and Cesaro are going to put on another awesome match, but do we really want to see it again?
I'll tell you what, and this was my main point. I'm going to say yes, I do, because this is the perfect diversion, like Jimmy and JR for Roman Reigns. This is the perfect layover feud, quote unquote, until SummerSlam, and then boom, you can very easily pull that trigger of I never actually tapped out, I never gave up, I want my rematch. Pick your stipulation. Boom. There you go. There's a title match for SummerSlam. You got it.
Makes me really hope they put Cesaro in the Money in the Bank, and he'll just announce when he's going to cash in, and that's just going to be.
He could very easily do that, couldn't he?
I mean, that'll even be the big storyline leading into Money in the Bank, and that'll actually be the main focus. I mean, really, who else is pushed enough to actually legit win the briefcase? I mean, I don't like Seth Rollins and Cesaro are pretty much the two, other than under Roman Reigns storyline. They're the big story right now.
The only other person that comes to mind right now is Shinsuke Nakamura, because he seems like he's on a bit of a roll, and he's got Eric Bugenhagen on his side. Finally.
Well, I can't even. I love
And he
Shinsuke, but I
wants
don't
to
even.
be the king. All right.
All I see is just him stuck with Baron Corbin for a while. Excuse
I
me.
know.
Like how like people were thinking Big E was another top contender, but after this week's SmackDown, they just are now having him feud with Aleister Black to get basically pretty much to get him away from the Intercontinental Championship. Which, to be fair, it's awesome. I love it. I'm glad Aleister Black is back, and I love his new his new video packages. I'm actually really intrigued on what they're going to do with him. I just hope it's not like a one-sided feud like some storylines happened in the past. I actually want him to be a top contender, which I've been reading. He is him and Priest are on the line of getting pretty decent pushes, which I am all for.
So all that being said, finally, what would you give your final beard ratings for WWE Wrestlemania Backlash?
I would give it a solid upper echelon full beard. I can't go goat face because Zombies brings it down. I can't. But I can go. It was very enjoyable for the most part. But 15 minutes of suck will bring your show down just a little bit. So can't go the full goat face, but I can go with a solid full beard.
How about you, Fool?
I'm not gonna go solid full. I'm gonna go very high full beard. I really enjoyed this. They were about to reach goat face, and then like what Brian said, the zombie match happened, and they tripped over to the finish line. It is a very high full beard. Great wrestling. It's now reaching that point where I don't care about the build anymore because I know just the matches are going to be awesome. The build will suck, but the matches will be awesome. That's pretty much WWE's thing, right? For reasons unknown. But yeah, the women's triple threat was great. Let's see what else happened. The SmackDown tag team title match, not the best match, but a good emotional moment to have Dominic and Ray win the belts. Bianca Belair and Bayley was awesome. That's 3. And like I said, two match of the year candidates for those world title matches, the WWE Championship and Universal title matches. Great. Like I said, 2 match of the year candidates. Zombies is just silly, and I love zombies, but that was just too much. But yeah, a very high full beard, 4 out of 5.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be nearly as praiseworthy because as much as the zombies were kind of silly, it sat very oddly with me. It came across as just very cynical, and some of that didn't really weigh right with me. So I'm going to give this a 3.5, a classic goatee with a little bit of stubble all around. It's it could be something good, but it's just not nearly enough. It's
the zombies really devoured your enjoyment of the show, huh?
Indeed, not only because of the show pacing, but also because this show once again had another tie. As we alluded to, there is still no, as of this moment, there is still no current Scholars of Wrestling champion. But Fool, I believe you've got a solution to that, don't you?
I do have a solution to that, and it's something historic, something that has never happened in the Scholars of Wrestling show. A first time ever. We are going to introduce the Scholars of Wrestling Heavyweight Championship Tournament. Oh, I'm excited to.
Did you say tournament?
It is the tournament, something that's never happened in the Scholars of Wrestling show. And it is all going to culminate at WWE's Money in the Bank. So it's going to be a series of matches between the 4 of us. And yeah, I guess including Charlie too. He'll finally show up when he finally shows up. But we're all going to have one-on-one. And the winner will go ahead and fight for the Scholars of Wrestling Championship at Money in the Bank. and the losers of the tournament matches will have a chance to redeem themselves by going after the Scholars of Wrestling Money in the Bank briefcase. And I already have the tournament matches set up. Before we started recording, I basically pulled our names out of our hats, and we have the tournament brackets, and it's so exciting. And
so let me see here. The next big show should be
next week,
AEW Double or Nothing next week. So
yep.
Don't keep us in suspense. Who's
fighting for in that? So yeah, the first match is going to be at Double or Nothing. The second tournament match is going to be at Hell in a Cell, which I still don't understand why they moved that from October, but whatever. And the finals will be at Money in the Bank. So Double or Nothing will be the two people who pretty much are the reason this title is still vacant. Scholar Brian is going to be against Scholar Charlie.
So that means you and I are going to be next month at
Hell in a Cell. Yep.
All right. Challenge accepted.
All right. And yeah.
You better stop trying to download my brain, Charlie. Get your own predictions.
But I will make it perfectly clear. Last year when we had the Scholar in the Bank beefcase, the loser of the title match went into the beefcase. When you're in that title match, you either win the title or win nothing at all, because you're not going to be inserted into the beefcase match. That's for the people who are unable to make the Scholars of Wrestling Championship final or tournament final.
And I'm not trying to have the beefcase 3 years in a row. All right, I'm going for that title.
He's going for the belt, baby. Oh.
Well, there you have it. The gauntlet has been laid down. The future of the Scholars of Wrestling Championship has been set. You already know what our plans are, but now is where we turn it over to you, our wrestling listening, consuming, discussing, arguing audience. What did you think of Backlash? What do you think of Zombies? Are you ready to get back to live shows again? Tell us all about it. Drop us a line, YouTube comments, Facebook posts, whatever you got, especially if they're on the good old-fashioned Twitter machines. Follow us on there, starting at Scholars OW for all latest episode uploads every single week, and join the conversation with us on our personal Twitter accounts. Fool, where can they reach you?
You can reach me. Kind of confused, but also kind of intrigued the fact that AEW Dynamite Kick is being moved to TBS, and they're introducing a new show called Rampage. They better have those characters from the Rampage video games at the Avataric. The monkey, the lizard, and the wolf.
But do you remember their names?
I don't remember their names. You know me, I'm terrible with names.
George, Lizzie, and Ralph.
Is Ralph the ape?
Ralph was the werewolf, George was the ape, and Lizzie was the lizard.
Well, Lizzie's not surprising at all.
Yeah.
Duh.
Scholar Brian, where can he reach you?
You can reach me psyching myself up to be next Scholars of Wrestling Heavyweight Champion at Atomic Beanpole.
And you can check me out delivering obscure arcade knowledge at I'm Robbie Rage. Join in the conversation. It's going to be
You're
a great
on my right,
time.
fool. So okay. You're on my right, so I'm looking at you. I'm looking at your
wherever you are.
I don't know. It's like if you're down there, I'm not going to do that. That looked wrong.
I'm pretty much don't know where we're going. We don't know what we're doing. If it's not got nothing to do with wrestling, we don't know what we're doing with it. But you already knew that because you know who we are. We are the Scholars of Wrestling, and you have just been schooled. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
See you all next week.
Right here. Future champion right here.